Democratic Party's unsafe, and they're not about America, and they could care less about the American people. It's all about them and their agenda. Donald Trump's the man. He's making America safe again.
We're unhappy that the numbers have plummeted.
Go sit in your room and cry. I don't care.
He's the only one. We've had the safest border we have ever had in the history of the United States is right now, and that's because of Trump. So thank God we have Trump as a president.
Just had to give you a dose of logic before we go into absolute insanity. If you haven't already liked the video, please give that a thumbs up. Really helps the channel. Let's get going.
James Klug here. Illegal crossings at our southern border have plummeted over the last couple of months, and in March we saw the lowest number of crossings ever recorded. Now, this is obviously a dramatic change from Joe Biden's administration, where we saw the worst border crisis in American history. So do Democrats know this? And if they do, what do they think the reason is? These are CBP numbers, illegal crossings per year. Numbers are down by 95%. What changed?
She's still wearing a mask.
What changed?
You seriously?
Well, I don't know what changed, but that's a problem I have with people. You just start about immigrants and talking about things like that. I mean,
Illegal immigration.
The most important thing is climate change.
According to Customs and Border
No way did he say that. He is a parody of a liberal.
According to Customs and Border Protection numbers, what changed?
He's lefty. We gotta go.
It's okay.
Trump. But that's not your story.
Can I show you the numbers on my phone?
What's up with the wife? Why is she not letting him answer?
Thank you.
I do not know what changed. I don't know if I believe the data or not. There's a lot of fake data being thrown around.
You're absolutely right about that.
Before I know the source, I can't tell you what changed.
Would you like me to show you on Customs and Border Protection's website the data?
I don't know if I believe that as well.
On Border Patrol's website?
I don't know if that's credible.
What would you accept as credible?
These days, I don't know.
To be fair, I think most of us would agree with that.
Would you accept as credible?
These days, I don't know.
Well, it was already down before Trump came in, but now there's a atmosphere of fear, so it's probably down further.
So you're saying they're way down? Deported.
Afraid of being deported?
Yeah, because we're not being welcoming and hospitable at the border anymore.
Yeah, it's a 95% reduction, so that's why we're talking about it. Obviously, it's a top 3 issue over the last 4 years.
Right.
Worst border crisis in American history.
Well, I don't know.
Leadership.
I don't know if it's the worst crisis in American history or not.
Border crisis.
I don't even know if that's true or not.
By all available data.
Well,
that we don't trust.
Yeah, everybody's afraid they're going to end up in El Salvador if they get anywhere near us, including American citizens who are overseas.
What a racist thing to say. I have a lot of El Salvadorian friends, and no, I don't.
No, and including Canadians.
Nobody wants to come here anymore.
Okay.
They hate us. They hate us everywhere.
The president changed.
They hate us everywhere, but everybody wants to be here. All right. Whoa.
But does that make it... I don't... What do you want to know?
That's my question for you. What changed? The president changed. Do you see that as a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't see it in black and white terms.
Do you guys think that this is then, with that answer, is this a bad thing compared to this?
I think for years we've allowed people into our country, and I believe there needs to be some, method of vetting when they're coming back and forth. But when people are being persecuted in other countries and then come over here thinking that they're going to have freedom, and we're like, get out, get back, we're not going to let you in. No, and I don't agree with that.
The majority of these are economic asylees. Are you in favor of deporting those people then?
No.
When it comes to people entering the country illegally, should they be punished for that or no?
No.
What do you think?
I think we need to provide more services for asylum seekers.
Yes.
For sure.
What has changed that the leader came to this country. The real person.
I'm not saying anything.
She's a Democrat.
She's a Democrat?
I really hate the notion of NPCs, just writing people off as NPCs. But this is the very definition of an NPC. Somebody who doesn't have an opinion on something because they are of a particular political party. Wow.
I would love to
But
hear the Democrats' perspective.
I'm not a Republican and I'm not Democrat, but I am reasonable. I mean, the reason it stopped because you stop illegal people to come here to kill our people.
You guys are married? Yeah. Oh, okay.
No ring.
No ring, but you are showing the American people right now that it is possible, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes, as long as one side doesn't say anything.
Okay. So I'm just gonna work my best not to make a divorce happen here, huh?
She can say anything. Everything I say, she doesn't answer, so I know she's against it. That's okay.
I think the answer to your question is
What a weird couple.
no one in Congress will get together and figure out a reasonable, logical immigration policy. It's either this side or this side, and they never get together and figure it out.
Well, if it's this side or this side, and you can see the numbers right now, which one do you prefer?
No, what I'm saying. No, what I'm saying.
We're saying the reason it dropped is because you're talking about the gang members being deported.
No. We didn't say that. We did
Oh,
not.
I'm sorry. You guys are talking about the Alien Enemies Act? Is that what you're talking about, or no? El Salvador, you said.
We're talking about people illegally being sent to El Salvador, and that's made anybody afraid of legal or illegal of crossing the border or even getting
They
near.
don't have to be gang members. You're just if you're brown skinned, you're out.
Would she be okay with them being immediately deported, no questions asked, or would she want them to go through some legal process and take up years and years of our time, even though they've admitted themselves that we don't have enough judges?
There's only been about 200 deported to El Salvador. You guys saw that famous plane ride. You think that's the reason for this plummet?
Well, I think no, because that was recent.
And I don't really like the idea of people being taken off the streets. I don't like the idea of people being
Yeah, typical Californian.
deported. Without due process. I disagree with that.
You're talking about maybe the Alien Enemies Act that they were using for MS-13 gang members. Is that what you're more referring to? The people that were just sent over to...
It's not just those people. I mean, it is that because they made mistakes.
Typically told the Republicans
Not
to shut it down.
To shut the bill down. So we would have had that bill.
Right, so there is no bill, but but numbers have reduced by 95%.
Yeah, because
was that
it's a
was
fear
that an
tactic.
excuse?
You're playing into it. I think we're playing into their hands.
Well, no, honest question. Because if that was
Well, it's a
the
leading
argument,
question. You're that kind of question. If that shows up on a survey the way you worded it, that would be a slanted survey.
well, I've been talking to people for the last 4 years on the street, and that was the reason that I heard from everybody. And I'm wondering, do you consider that to be a lie or no? Do you think it was not a lie?
What? What's the statement? Was there a lie or not?
The crisis could only get under control if they passed legislation.
If that shows up on a survey the way you worded it, that would be a slanted survey.
When you get a leading question or you have to confront a got you answer, accept it. Embrace the got you. You've already lost.
I've been talking to people for the last 4 years on the street, and that was the reason that I heard from everybody. And I'm wondering, do you consider that to be a lie or no? Do you think it was not a lie?
What? What's the statement? Was there a lie or not?
The crisis could only get under control if they passed legislation. The legislation was obviously not passed. There's a 95% reduction in illegal crossings right now.
Yeah.
Was that a lie or no?
I don't know if that's a lie or not.
Yeah.
I don't have the data. You're showing me a chart that you're saying is one thing, but I don't know.
I can, if you'd like, I can pull up the CBP data on my phone if you'd like to see the actual website.
No, I mean, yeah. I mean, the answer is I don't know.
Were they lying to the American people or no?
They didn't want to do anything about it.
They didn't want to do
They
anything.
wanted the open.
Nah, they didn't want to do anything about it, see? I hope this guy has a big twirly mustache.
Because they had an agenda, and game over. Don Trump's in the White House, making it all happen now. It's all good for America, absolutely.
No, because they're enforcing the legislation that was there in the first place. So we don't have to pass anything. We just have to enforce what's been there since who knows when. So we don't have to change anything, just enforce what we have on the books.
I mean, I can't say if it was a lie or not. I just know that he needed help.
If you guys want to know what my mom is like, bam. This is like the avatar of my mother right here.
In a lot of ways, it's a lot of this. It's a lot of talk and no action. So finally we're getting action and everybody's upset. I don't get it.
Nobody wants to come and
So,
visit us anymore.
What do you think about the gentleman that's Abrigo? That's
Abrego Garcia.
Right. What do you think about that? Should he be brought back to the U.S. by any means possible?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really interesting debate that's happening right now. What do I think about it? He's an illegal immigrant, connections to MS-13, wife beating. What?
Who said that besides Trump?
Who?
That's not what the state.
Who said that besides the president of the United States? Watch how this lady leans in right here. She thinks, ooh, I'm gonna get him. Watch this.
What do I think about it? He's an illegal immigrant, connections to MS-13, wife beating. What?
Who said that besides Trump?
Who?
That's not what the state said. The state that he was removed from, there's no evidence of him being criminal, committed no crime in the U.S. He actually had protection from the courts.
Yeah, I want to make sure we're not talking past each other because I'm just trying to talk about the facts here. So you're saying he wasn't an illegal immigrant?
Right. He had He had permission to be in the States.
He was in the United States illegally. He is an El Salvadorian
He was
national.
granted permission by the courts to stay because he was at risk.
He had a withholding order. He was allowed to be deported to other countries. He was not technically supposed to be deported to El Salvador because he was fearing rival gangs.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true. This is what you're telling me.
Well, you asked me my thoughts on it. I'm just laying it out.
Every time somebody's going to present you with facts or information, you just say, I don't know if that's true. What is the point of having a discussion ever about anything?
Well, you're telling me information.
There's court information documenting that information, as well as the MS-13. Would you guys like me to show you the court documents about the MS-13 involvement?
No, because...
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
No.
Yeah. And I have other documents if you'd like to check it out. I can also email you the documents as well. So these are court documents. You can read that top part right there if you want to read it out loud.
Has been identified as a member. MS-13. This is from Homeland Security.
And you can see the date at the top as well. So his initial arrest was in 2019.
Okay, you guys probably can't read this, but at the bottom it says, the subjects freely admitted being citizens and national of El Salvador by birth and that they were present in the United States illegally. The subjects were not in possession of any immigration documents that would allow them to be in or remain in the United States legally.
And keep in mind, you guys, I'm not a lawyer or anything, but I do try my best to give people good information. So this is the information that we have available. There's many more documents that I can actually pull up if you'd like. But the initial arrest in 2019, he was arrested loitering with MS-13 gang members. He was wearing clothing that they wear.
Why is she shaking her head at any information that she doesn't like? Look at this.
Documents that I can actually pull up if you'd like. But the initial arrest in 2019, he was arrested loitering with MS-13 gang members. He was wearing clothing that they wear. And there was all... Well, I'm not making this up. This is all in court.
Yeah.
It's not true, though?
No.
What are your thoughts about that document, sir?
I'll do more research.
Yeah.
I don't know where you got that. I'm done being on camera.
Oh, okay. All right. Wait, hold on.
No,
thank you for your time.
All right, back to the lemon party.
Just mention one other thing.
Yeah.
There are reports of people with green cards and people who are U.S. citizens who were born outside of the U.S. getting hassled at the border.
Yeah, it's called a border. That's where you get hassled at. That's the whole point of a border.
Yeah, that happens.
No,
that happens.
Never happened before.
Perfect response.
It's only happening under this administration.
People have never struggled to get in the United States?
A
U.S. citizen?
A U.S. citizen coming in.
Don't you struggle to get in the United States sometimes?
Passport?
And you got
What
handcuffed.
I get detained for 2 to 5 hours.
What for? What was the reason?
They don't tell me.
No,
They just tell me
when
you're being
was this?
detained.
When did this happen?
This happened for like 2 years, from 2021 up until 2022.
With no explanation.
They wouldn't explain to me.
Well, that's terrible.
How terrible is that, though? I've been at a dentist's office waiting 2 hours.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
That's good.
It doesn't matter if it was Biden or Trump. Abuse of power is bad.
Well, I'm sorry. You guys were just saying it's...
How is that abuse of power? You know what it is? I think that a lot of these West East Coast liberals, they didn't grow up in rough areas. And they must just have grown up in upper middle class or wealthy areas. And so to them, everywhere is a utopia. Everyone is a good person. boundaries and borders make no sense to them because everyone is just looking out for everybody else. Nobody creates problems. Nobody does crimes.
This is new. It's
Well,
never happened. And we just gave you an example of it happening.
I didn't say it's never happened. I'm saying it. I'm hearing it a lot more often.
You know, I am running into people that are finding this number problematic. They're not happy with what seems to be record low illegal crossings at our southern border. Those are primarily Democrats that are unhappy about it. But what would your response to those people be? What are your thoughts about that?
Why in the world would you be unhappy about numbers plummeting where it's so dangerous to cross the border? Women are getting raped. The cartels own the operation of getting people, smuggling them here. Why in the heck would they want it to be higher? That's ridiculous.
Accidentally hit the mute button here, but if you didn't see yesterday's episode, Kevin O'Leary absolutely destroys a bunch of CNN panelists. Here is a sample.
The President of the United States, who takes a $400 million plane from them, literally is refurbishing it to be Air Force.
Who cares about the plane? What does that have to do with the fact?
Because it's
Wait a second.
You know what?
I don't get it. Why focus?